Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Yes, let's do it. Welcome in on a Monday morning. It's Justin, and yes, we are deep in it now. We got big day tomorrow. Big stories for you. And just got off of Newsmax this morning and talking about tomorrow and how big the election is here in Michigan. It's kind of it's easy to think this just another election, just another primary, but it's in fact maybe the biggest election that'll happen this year happens tomorrow. That was kind of my thought. We'll explain what I mean by that coming up in just a little bit. We'll get into that. Plus the story latest on Iran. Trump pulled the plug on strikes. The latest on that you're going to want to hear. And again, you say, here we go again, or is there something new happening behind the scenes? We'll get to that. And a couple of heroic stories. Some good news. We'll salute some folks coming up this morning. And you, welcome in. Thank you for being here with us as always as we lock in for another big show. Healthwithjustin.com making it possible today. Our good friends Maha, Missy, and the team. Always appreciate their support. Down over 40, me and my wife together, and Mike and his wife know what that's all about. Folks are making the switch and making an impact in their lives right now, not only losing weight, 30 to 50 pounds sometimes, some of these folks. Some of them 2 to 3 pound sizes in just like 40 days or more. 269-964-4044 or healthwithjustin.com is the way to log in and check that out. In the meantime, mypillow.com/Justin, mystore.com/Justin, Mike Lindell and the team powering the program as well. He's a patriot running for governor in Minnesota, and he's got a chance. He's got a massive chance. Your support could make a big difference. Help Mike and this program as well get the truth, logic, and common sense out to the folks who need it most. Sharing is caring, so get that done today, and we'll get you into running for something cool inside the Justin store, justinbarclay.com/store. All kinds of great gear, and the hottest one right now is this Jesus Saves USA t-shirt. I love it. Folks are getting it, and not only getting it, they get it. Make a splash. And your chance to win something from the store. Yeah, you can buy something and support us. That's always helpful. We don't make a ton on it, but at the end of the day, it does help get the word out about what's going on. Time for our big three, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage, Dave Galloway and the team. We talked to Dave on Friday talking about not just the interest rates, but also the way things are moving and shaking right now when it comes to the Fed inside. What's happening, the transformation. I think that's the bigger story that Trump and the team are working on. You want to hear his thoughts, his comments? We've got that posted everywhere you can listen to the podcast, justinbarclay.com, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, you name it, after it. We're getting after it. HHMlending.com if you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit, and you want $500 to help pay your closing costs and take care of things you want to do. Well, just mention my name. The Justin Value Deal gets you at Heartland Home Mortgage. They're faster, they're bigger than the big banks. And they'll help you today, whether you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit. HHMlending.com. Trump's called it off, says the Iran deal is imminent. The president called off a planned military strikes, the biggest they since World War II, after a deal includes imminent reopening the strait, steps towards Iran's denuclearization, all in place. He cites requests from Gulf allies and claims of progress in the talks. So they're holding up. There may be more to that story. We'll talk about the price of oil, the way things are shaping up and moving, and what I think is really happening behind the scenes coming up in just a moment. But first, a gunman opened fire at a brand new In-N-Out in Idaho over the weekend. Multiple people are dead, but one man, the biggest story is one man, one hero stepped in One man, one hero stepped up in the line of fire and did what he was trained to do. I think this event could have been much worse if it weren't for this hero. We'll shed the light on him coming up and what he was able to do on the program this morning. But man, there's a couple of these great stories that I think deserve a little bit of a highlight. Good people doing great things, have an extraordinary impact. Just ordinary people. It's incredible. And then coming up, it is the biggest, possibly the biggest election of the year. It'll happen tomorrow, not November, here in Michigan. I want to dig in on this and talk about how important, how big it is on the way in just moments right here. But in the meantime, let's take a listen out of Idaho, the story that has lots of folks shocked, but some saying this is why we knew more good people.
Weekend's deadly mass shooting at an In-N-Out Burger in Twin Falls, Idaho. At least 3 people were killed in the attack and 7 others were wounded. And the gunman, he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. CBS's Lindsay Reiser is following the investigation and has the very latest tonight. Lindsay.
Jerika, the police chief of Twin Falls called it the most chaotic scene that most of their first responders will ever experience, and that Good Samaritans who jumped into action prevented it from being even worse.
They running.
Terror in Twin Falls. Police say a shooter sprayed bullets at this In-N-Out Burger in a crowded shopping center 2 hours southeast of Boise.
So far, all we have is a male, 20 to 30 years of age, wearing blue shirt, glasses, and pants.
Police have identified the gunman as 24-year-old Chad Williams. A city spokesperson said Williams also fired shots inside the restaurant that opened just 1 week ago.
What's happening? What happened? What's happening? Shoot. Go. Just go. Go.
In one eyewitness video, a person carrying what appeared to be a firearm could be seen outside the restaurant, opening the door and trunk of a parked sedan. In another, it appears a man shoots at the suspect before ducking from return fire.
We can confirm that there was enough a state trooper and a citizen who actively engaged the suspect by returning gunfire towards him. We want to take a moment and commend the actions of the off-duty officer and the citizen and their heroic action to stop this incident. We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
Can you imagine? Jason says, In-N-Out's like Disney World for fat guys. It's kind of true. It is it's a wonderful place, but not only this, there's a bigger spiritual thing happening here. And look, I know some people probably may take issue with what I'm about to say, but the owners of In-N-Out, in fact, are openly Christian, and the if you go to In-N-Out, you'll see like on their packaging there'll be Bible verses. Now, we don't have one here in West Michigan, although I'd love if we did. When I've been out west, I've been able to go to these, and they are fantastic. Service is great, food's good. It's a great place. You got to wonder when something like this, something as evil as this happens, you really got to wonder what the implications, like what was the motive, what was this individual doing, especially when you have a place like this and the kind of conservative, targeted in a way. Now, evil is evil, so maybe you're trying to make sense of things and you can't. But I think also there are implications in a spiritual way behind the scenes of some of these things that are happening. And by the way, don't let it be lost on you that this individual who did this, engaged by a police officer and then a bystander who's just there. This guy's story is incredible.
Police say 3 people were killed and the gunman took his own life. In-N-Out President Lindsay Snyder posted today that one of their employees was killed, writing, "My heart is broken. We lost one of our beautiful associates tonight. She was taking care of our most important asset, our customers, and her life was taken."
Now, CBS didn't tell you, and I'll roll it back just a little bit, probably the most important part of this message. And it's no surprise that they didn't tell you this little piece here. But she says, "I love you all." This is the CEO of In-N-Out. "And I ask you to turn to God, not in anger, but seeking comfort and strength for those who are hurting." The CEO of In-N-Out says, turn to God. and the news left it out. Now, again, it's stories like this and the context, the news behind the scenes that matters most. You won't hear anywhere else. We'll make sure you do. We'll make sure you do get the scoop on some of this stuff and hear these stories. And again, you like I said, the guy who actually behind the scenes, the real hero in this scenario, this guy, he ought to be front page news. They're not going to do this because they don't want guns or the people that are prepared and ready to protect you. They didn't want police officers to get a good rep. The police officers, defund the police movement, all this other, they are after good in every single way, every day. They don't. It's no surprise. So the man who helped stop this whole thing, he's got an interesting past. And like I said, I'm not for putting these yahoos, front and center that commit these acts. But I definitely think when you see stories like this, real heroes don't wear capes, folks. We ought to be saluting Jordan Salinas, the man who took on the Twin Falls gunman at the time. We ought to be talking about them. We ought to be sharing their story. We ought to make sure that people know. Because if we got more good men out there willing to stand up, and the only way evil thrives is when good men do nothing. But if we got good men willing to stand up and stand in the gap, folks, this type of thing will stop because they know they can't get away with it. Here he is, Jordan Salinas, training for what he would inevitably face that day. Look at that guy. God bless him. I mean, this is incredible. And there are many more just like him. You don't ever hear their stories. And unfortunately, when there's a good guy with a gun, the news sort of buries it. Even CBS, which apparently is supposed to be a new version. Anyway, there are multiple eyewitness angles to this. I'm not going to show the videos there. If you want to see them, you can search them. I might even put them on the stack, but I'm not going to show. Some of it's pretty graphic. What you saw there, the hero stepping up and standing in the gap. That's the thing that I think people need to see more than anything else. I think they need to see that. Yeah, we need to know evil exists, but we also need to know that there are good men willing to stand up and do the right thing. Here's the video of him actually doing just that. I'll show you that again. Again, they are saying because he was there and he was willing to take a stand, he was able to stop this guy. He had to flee. The gunman who wanted to inflict more danger, more death, he had to flee. How many lives he saved, we don't know. Looks like he's got that same gun on him. It's almost like the one with the silencer. Yeah. This guy been training. He had been training for this moment. Thank God. Again, when good men stand up, stand in the gap, they take action. And I'm not just saying always with a firearm, but look, it comes in packages like you standing out, going to a school board meeting and saying, we're not going to do this here. I don't know what they're going to do other places throughout the world. We're not going to do this here. It could look like you saying, I'm going to get out and knock on doors and talk to my neighbors and talk about the things, maybe it's a data center issue that's happening in your area. Who knows? But what I'm saying is this is the recipe. This is what it looks like. Just knocking on your doors, knowing your neighbors. That could be something as simple. Good men standing up and doing something. They don't want this. They didn't want it. In fact, 2020 was a big test for a lot of us. And everything coming back, I don't know about you, but I'm having flashbacks to it all. At least over the last, several crazy years that we've seen here in Michigan. I sort of watch all of it. The Wolverine Queen, what we had to deal with, with her and much more. And that was a test. And I saw a meme the other day. In fact, I think I shared this with you. Is like who you were during COVID. Like, in other words, who came out during COVID is who you are today. We know this. Who you were during COVID. Like how you showed up. Did you fight back? Did you stand up? Did you refuse to go along with the insanity and the chaos? Then that's who you are. That's who you are. That's a great example, a good look into the character, the content, the principles you stand for, who you are, and who you are under fire. That's what we need more of. And we saw it during COVID. This show right here, which you're watching, was born during that time. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm just saying, you and I standing up together, getting the news out to people, sharing these stories so people could actually know what's going on in the world. Saying with each other, wait a minute, I don't know about this. And that's one of the big wake up calls I had, is I watching the news, seeing some of these things that were coming out and thinking, yeah, that's something's a little off here. Something's a little off here. Anyway, just some food for thought as we continue down that road. Tomorrow, big election. It may be the biggest, in fact, the biggest of the year. In fact, maybe it's not November. Maybe it's tomorrow. We'll talk about that and tell you why. In fact, if you missed the Newsmax hit earlier today, I'm gonna share that with you because I saw some folks in the chat. I shared it. I said it was coming. Please watch us in the morning, 7:50 on Newsmax. And some folks were able to see it. Some don't have Newsmax or don't have cable. And so for you, and I totally understand, I'm gonna run that back for you. In fact, there were, it's kind of interesting because there were some folks who said, I tried to get it, but the cable, the cable wanted, they said, I think $50 to upgrade or something, and I couldn't get to it. And some of the cable services have it, some of it don't. But I would imagine we may do one or two more of those in the coming days, not just with Newsmax. I've had some other networks that have been mentioned as well to talk about these stories. So happy to do that. And got a chance to sit with my good friend Tudor Dixon, who was excellent this morning. As always, she's got her pulse on Michigan and got a chance to win. You'll be able to see this coming up here in just a second. All right, so that's coming up. In the meantime, we want to check in with the latest from the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. Robin Poppin with the stories around the state and beyond this morning, and we'll get into those. Plus, whatever you want to chat about this morning in the chat as well. It's Monday, a massive day, and I say a big week, the beginning of the month in August, what is going to be a major, in fact, I saw some of you already start talking about this. My big announcement coming soon, maybe even some hints. We'll get into that a little bit later on as well. It is interesting. August, a big month, and lots to come yet. Hang on, folks.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Monday, August 3rd. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Voters here in Michigan gearing up for Tuesday's primary. Michigan Senator Democrat Gary Peters is retiring. Abdul El-Sayed, who opposes funding Israel, and Representative Haley Stevens are competing for the nomination. Stevens is the establishment candidate backed by Governor Whitmer. El-Sayed is supported by Socialist Bernie Sanders and New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. El-Sayed telling ABC News,
If you're doing the math and you're watching this campaign and you're looking at who you want to be on that debate stage with Mike Rogers, I think there's one answer.
In other news, as if it hasn't caused enough damage to the state of Michigan, the Whitmer administration considering allowing the Saline Township Data Center to dump more than 15,000 gallons of polluted water a day into the river. Public comment on this proposed plan open through August 24th. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
All right, folks. Still yet another chance. Get in the running. Sharing is caring. We want to make sure that you get something cool from inside the store. If you haven't bought anything yet, that's totally fine. You can if you'd like to support us in that way. That's totally fine too. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. But if you want to support us, love to have your support there. JustinBarkley.com/store. But also, you can win something just from sharing the program today. You help us get the word out, truth, logic, and common sense. We appreciate you doing that. More people need to be aware of what's going on. So I'll say good morning first to the folks in the VIP over on Locals. Panda, good to see you this morning. R. Reagan, good to see you. Gritter, thank you so much. Hemi, Cook, Garden So, who I know was up early watching. Michigan Joe, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Mando in the house as well. Thank you all. Sharon, so many others, and interesting questions. Salo Sue, good to see you too, man. It's only as far back as I can go, but I will tell you, I see your questions, and I promise I will answer them specifically for the VIPs, as many as I can, as much as I can, over on Locals. After the show, when we wrap, we'll do the after party, the show after the after show, which this is kind of the after show still, right? For the remnants. Gary, good to see you over on Rumble. TK, Jen Lynn, such a time as this. Thank you so much for being here with us. Tim, and so many others. Did I say TK? The Road to Nowhere. Thank you. Some of the Road to Nowhere says, they took him off Wood, so I found him here. Thank you, The Road to Nowhere. That's so cool. By the way, this morning we still did our hit on Wood. We're not doing the 9 to 10 show anymore. So there's some questions about that and what's going on. Some of those answers, I have a feeling very soon you're going to get to know a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes with that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I am doing a 7:30 Monday hit with our good friend Steve Kelly, who's been great on the morning show. Fantastic folks at Wood making that happen. So that's very cool. The Bookers are here too. Jason, Bruce, Tammy, Cora, Mary. By the way, you're wondering, like, what the heck is going on with this 9/11? I hear you talking about there's something big coming. What is that? If you haven't already done it, make sure you're signed up. Go to justinbarclay.com and put in your email so that you make sure you can stay up to date on everything that we're going to tell you about. You'll hear it first right there at justinbarclay.com/good news if you want to sign up or get the stack. That's how we'll be letting people know what's going on. So make sure you take the time to do that so you can be updated on all the things that are coming. Because what we're doing here is we still do this 9 o'clock show. We even have, like, I think probably as many said as well. Sharon, no, I'll answer all your questions in a minute. No, I don't want to say too much more now, but I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to be encouraged, because what is coming, you're going to love. That's all I can say for right now. That's all I can say. JustinBarclay.com, and we'll give you the latest. And nothing against you, Sharon. I just wanted to make sure I didn't. I don't want you to think, oh gosh, here's something else. No, nothing like that. But let's do this. All right. So we have. Well, let me share this with you. We have a little bit of the Newsmax hit, and I want to go a little bit more in depth on what I mean by I think one of the most important elections is actually going to happen tomorrow, and not necessarily in November. Although November might get tricky as well, depending upon what happens tomorrow. So let's show you a little behind the scenes of what took place this morning on Newsmax, the full hit. With the folks on Wake Up America and Tudor Dixon as well. All right, here's that clip. Stand by, folks.
Welcome back. Michigan Democrats head to the polls tomorrow in what could be their most divisive primary yet. All eyes will be on Michigan, a major test of whether the party's socialist left flank or its establishment wing will control the state's future.
Yeah, so in the open Senate race, progressive outsider Abdul El Sayed leads moderate Congresswoman Haley Stevens in the most recent polling after millions in outside spending failed to stop his surge. Republicans stand ready, of course, to possibly flip this seat in November with former Congressman Mike Rogers waiting in the wings. So here to talk all about it, host of the Tudor Dixon podcast, former candidate for governor in Michigan, Tudor Dixon, along with host of Torch Radio, Justin Barclay. Good morning to you both. Tudor, start with you. You've run statewide. What do you think? Does El Sayed's brand of progressive socialist policies work with working middle-class independent voters in Michigan?
You know, I have to say I've been surprised I'm in more of the conservative area of the state, and I've been surprised by the number of signs that are out. But for a man who is saying money out of politics, that is certainly not what is actually happening on the ground here. I will tell you that they have groups flying in from all over the country. We had a festival in our small town on the west side of Michigan over the weekend, and they had multiple tables there of people who were handing out merch, handing out signs. There is a on-the-ground organizing effort that is in the multi-millions of dollars that has come in here and campaigned for El Sayed. Now, he's saying that he wants money out of politics. It's just money that we can't see, but he has plenty of money behind his campaign.
Now, Justin, if Abdul El Sayed does ultimately win tomorrow, what does that future look like as he would potentially, or if he does win tomorrow, he would go against Mike Rogers in November? What does that make it easier or harder for Democrats, especially, I mean, his policies are just so drastic here?
Oh, it's massive. In fact, the most important election may not be coming in November. It may happen tomorrow here in Michigan because so much is on the line. We're talking about socialism and the rise in that party. And between the two candidates, you're talking about nutty versus nuttier. So the truth is, in this race, and eventually in the general, Mike Rogers will be facing off against one of these folks. Rogers and his campaign seem to think that they've got a better chance against Abdul El Sayed because he's a bit more of, I guess, a nuttier candidate. When you take a look at the difference between the Republican Party with the big tent and the Democrat Party, which is now becoming the circus tent, they think that contrast is probably a lot more profound. Either way, it's going to be a tough race, but Mike Rogers is running, again, the campaign of common sense, truth, logic, and common sense. He believes, and his folks will prevail in this election, but don't discount Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed. I mean, this guy has a pedigree. He has been in training. He ran as governor here in 2018 for the governor's race and wasn't successful in the Democrat Party. But he's been planning this along with the folks. As Tudor made a great point, and that money behind the scenes has been pushing this way for a long time.
Well, I have a feeling we are going to have a lot to talk about the rest of this week on how that one turns out.
Yeah, it'll
Democrats
be
can't retake the Senate if they lose Michigan.
Yeah, very
That's
interesting.
probably, yeah.
Well, Tudor Dixon, Justin Barclay, thank you both.
Thank you.
Well, if you...
There you have it. So lots of questions. By the way, thank you. We had a great time this morning. And man, it goes fast. That is the thing. I'll share some more behind the scenes on that, but a little bit later. But man, it's like fast. You're done in a blink of an eye. It's kind of crazy how quick it goes. I'm seeing some comments. Justin, you clean up nice. What are you talking about? You don't think I'm looking good? What is? I'm not looking good today. It's just when I put on a. I'm just kidding. Giving you a hard time. Jason says, I have a small crush on Tudor. My wife knows she has a crush on Jason Momoa, so it's okay. I'll have to tell her you said that. No, I'm not going to be a consultant for Newsmax. That's not my news. Although I will I'd happily talk to the folks at Newsmax and any network for that matter as we continue to try and get the word out about what we're doing and what is coming. So I'll leave it with that. But I'll address some more of this kind of a little bit later on. But what I really want to do right now, I really want to talk about what I think is coming tomorrow. What I think is on the line. We are seeing this nationwide with the rise of Mamdani, AOC, Bernie Sanders. We are seeing unfortunately, the rise of socialism, communism. That's really where this is going. We're seeing the rise of something that looks, for all intents and purposes, and you've heard me talk about this a little bit, but it looks, for all intents and purposes, like it's the shiny new object, like it's something brand new and fun and exciting. And it is anything but. Socialism, communism, it is an old ancient idea that is failed, and it is deadly and downright evil. We've seen it everywhere that it's been tried. Socialism turns to communism, turns to death by the millions every time. In fact, Mamdani's trying this right now in New York City. It's not working out too well, and they're having their own issues as we speak with it. I don't know if you've seen this, but, the craziness that's coming out of the latest announcements in New York City. They gave him a shot. But even people that voted for him are now starting to see just how bad it is and how bad it looks. So he wants to do these grocery. Have you seen this thing about the grocery stores? Mamdani's newest idea about grocery stores. He wants to do grocery stores, city-owned grocery. These are government grocery stores, folks. You'll be able to buy your government cheese there and government everything else. Now, this is a horrific idea because it will put other grocery stores, mom and pops, people that have been working all their lives. These people aren't rich, by the way. These people are just average, you and me, hard, getting up every day, working folks. They just happen to own a store. If you've been to New York, the bodegas or anything. You know what this is like. It will be downright deadly. It'll create food deserts. And then eventually what he wants to do is control it all. Now, this is a place where they had to go to the state to get money to do anything else. Now they're wanting to run grocery stores. You want to know what makes this even funnier? Apparently, you'll need an ID to shop at these grocery stores, but you won't need one to vote.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically? And is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, Jeannie Pack, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically?
So there you have it. You're going to have an idea. Guy doesn't want the SAVE Act. Guy don't want the SAVE Act. Whatever you do, don't give us a SAVE Act. Don't want to make sure that people are who they are when it comes to voting. But you'll have to have your ID to get your groceries. You'll have to have your ID to get your rice-a-roni. I don't know, your hamburger helper, whatever they're going to sell in the stores. It couldn't be good. Do you think it's going to be real food and good food? No, there's no way. I don't know. I mean, maybe. You're going to end up in bread lines in New York City. That's what this guy wants. So we've seen this, and also in recent days, Mamdani, this isn't the only thing he's up to. I don't know if you saw the even more dangerous thing that he did the other day. So we could tax these millionaires. We're going to go after these millionaires, and it's the pied de terre. So it's like if they don't have their own and their essentially their main home there, it's their second home or their third home or fifth, whatever, millionaires, billionaires, etc. This is an attempt to go ahead and tax them even more. But that's not the craziest part. The craziest part is this guy put out a list of where these people live. He doxed them. He doxed these people. Scott Galloway, who's a liberal, leftist. I don't know. Some people think he's reasonable. I don't know if I've witnessed that yet. He may be waking up. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I give him the opportunity to do that. Bill Maher certainly has. Listen to what Bill Maher has to say about all this. But this guy's waking up a little bit. And why? Because he ended up on the other end. See, this is the thing about liberals, progressives, and crackpots, they don't care about these policies when they don't affect them. Do you know what I mean? When it doesn't affect them, they don't care. It's somebody else, essentially, that has to deal with this. Now it's chickens that come home to roost. His address ended up online.
And I've been doxxed.
You've been doxxed. What? Tell me.
So I don't know if you've heard, but Mayor Mamdani has decided to release a list of the 950,000 residences with addresses and names that might be eligible for his pied-à-terre tax. I came out in favor of this tax. This is the definition. He's taken a legitimate source of tax revenue and he's turning it into a wanted poster. And the question I would have is, other than trying to identify and imply these people have done something wrong, and then 18 months after a healthcare CEO was executed in the street, and then publish the list, what?
Oh, you guys care about this now?
What is the upside here? Why is he doing this?
It's like Scott Galloway, is it? But professor, he's a smart guy. He's got his podcast. He's an expert. You're supposed to listen to him as he sits on high from his throne, prognosticating and also telling you like it is from high atop his ivory tower, looking down his nose at you and everyone else, telling you socialism is the answer. Socialism is the way. He voted for this thing. He came out, I don't know if he voted for it because I don't know if he's an actual resident there. He just has the pied-à-terre. He has the second home there. But I don't know if he actually voted for it. But he was in support of it. He said, I like this idea of taxing these rich you-know-whats. And he still doesn't even mind. It's interesting. He still even mind being taxed himself, which is interesting. I've always thought some of these richest of the rich and these issues, what they want to do, they want to tax people. And it's if you don't think that the government is paying enough or being paid enough money, go ahead and send a little extra in. Go ahead and send a little extra in, with your tax returns. Go ahead and send it in. Just write them a check, cut it, write it, send it off, send a little extra in. Yeah, see how that goes. Maybe that'll help. No, but they want everybody else to feel the pain too. So he doesn't care that he's being taxed or that he could be taxed. What he finally has an issue with, and I don't blame him, I would too, is that his address ended up somewhere public. It's not even his main home, but it's a home where he could be. But he's now starting to draw the lines. He said, we had United Healthcare CEO assassinated. It's dangerous. And by the way, Mamdani's doing it with a smile. The same thing that Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed will do, with a smile. They always do it with a smile. It's the exact same thing. And folks, I want to tell you that not only is this dangerous, because this is how they wield power. And these folks, the leftists, and particularly the Red-Green Alliance, that's the communist Muslim extremist alliance. The Red-Green Alliance, go back and look at your history on what happened in Iran about 50 years ago. This is the same thing at play here in America right now. So I bring this up, and it's interesting because what we're watching in the Democrat Party is Mamdani, who's become, one of the new darlings. You got AOC, you got Bernie Sanders out there. You got the guy in Maine until you found out what kind of a creep he was. And they still, by the way, will not denounce the guy. They'll withdraw their endorsements. But they still won't endorse the guy, which is, or excuse me, just say, hey, this was a bad idea. This was regret. I regret it. In fact, Bernie Sanders was asked about that this weekend, I think, on one of these Sunday news shows. Let me see if I can find that for you real quick, because he just refuses to say. He refuses to say what and essentially what everybody should say is the guy's a creep. This is ridiculous what he did. It's absolutely horrific. And by the way, we knew the guy had problems and didn't really care from the beginning. Why? We don't care. The ends justify the means. We don't care just as long as we get it done. That's where these people stand by it. That's how all of this works. All right, let me find it. See if I can get this. There he is. Do you regret? It was on NBC News. Meet the Depressed. That's where it was. NBC Snooze, Meet the Depressed.
Well, let me ask you, because in the face of these growing scandals against Plattner, emotional abuse, aggressive behavior, which he did deny, you did continue to support.
There were very serious allegations against Plattner. As a result of those accusations, I and virtually all of his supporters requested that he withdraw from the race, and he did. Very serious allegations. And he withdrew from the race.
You, in fact, said there are no saints in the United States Senate before those most serious allegations came out. Do you regret endorsing Graham Plattner in the first place, Senator?
Well, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. Plattner ran a very strong campaign, and in fact, many of the issues that he's raised are resonating all over this country. A woman made very serious allegations against him. He withdrew from the race, period.
And just to button this up, any regrets? Do you wish if you could go back?
That's, I think right now we're looking at a campaign in Michigan. We're looking at a campaign in Minnesota.
He's mad. He is so mad. Trying to change the subject.
The people of this country right now are sick and tired of establishment politics and establishment policies. They want change. And I and other progressives are going to do everything that we can to bring about those changes.
Yeah. He does not want you talking about this. How hard is it to say, look, I regret it? Of course I regret it. I mean, it doesn't want to even admit that, but, because then he would have to admit how they picked the guy, how they got into this place in the first place. But, I mean, I think it's pretty simple to say, look, this guy ended up being a creep. And, look, still, you could say, I stand with the policies he supported. I stand with it. But this guy was a creep. And at the end of the I'm telling you why this race, he doesn't want to talk about it, is because it's off the radar. They're not going to win it. They thought they had a chance to win it, mate. All the focus, all the money, Tudor mentioned it in that hit this morning on Newsmax. So she said, all of this behind the scenes dark money that's pushing to get this guy elected, El Sayed. That's the thing they don't want you to talk about. It's all shifted now to a couple of these races, and they are, some of them, the craziest of the crazy. Some of them are the nuttiest of the nutty. These are the people you're talking about sending to Washington, D.C. to represent you. Here's Abdul Al-Sayed a few years back, sans the black T-shirt, which is now his new uniform. By the way, it's the same. It's the Zelensky playbook. He's trying to come off as a man of the people. He's not. He's always been an elitist.
About events that I remember because I was an adult when they happened. And that was question 755. When the state of Oklahoma voted in a referendum to amend the Constitution to ban Sharia law. What does that mean? I don't know. And yet the voters banned it anyway.
This is a guy who is and very formidable. Don't get me wrong. Don't discount him. He don't because the guy he's.
Well, let me ask.
I don't understand. He's got a shot. He's got a shot. I know that Rogers thinks, and the campaign apparently thinks that they possibly do better with him on the ballot versus Haley Stevens. Oh, you betcha. Let's go get him. That's right. Stick it to him. That kind of van down by the river gal. Oh boy. And I think there's some Democrats who actually make that case too. Whitmer came out and endorsed her, and there's some people in the Democrat Party say there's no way we win if this guy's on the ballot. But I don't know if that's true. I think it's less likely that they are concerned about them not winning, and it's more likely they're concerned about the shift of the power in the party. if it goes that way, because this is still very, very extreme. Don't let them make you think otherwise.
I'm a supporter of Medicare for all, of a so-called single-payer healthcare system, and you've proposed introducing that at a state level. You call it MishCare. It's one of your big signature policy proposals.
This is when he ran for governor back in 2018.
Explain what that is.
You're from the UK.
Yep.
In the UK, it's called single provider, meaning
this right here. This is how I met him back in 2018. And I saw people, in fact, somebody described him that worked at the radio station I worked at, my boss at the time, said, he's a very dynamic individual. He's look at him. He's great. He's young. You think about how voters are going to look at him on the ballot. He's got that black T-shirt. He's going after the younger voters. Kids have no idea what socialism is or communism is. He's not wearing a suit. And he's got radical ideas, but they just put lipstick on that pig, and they won't. They'll sort of hide who he really is, and the news will go right along with it. All the media go right along with it. They'll just let this guy fly. They'll send him to Washington, and then he will become the poster child and the new face of the Democratic Party, the socialist revolution, the communist revolution inside the Democratic Party. I said this earlier, but I really mean it. Republicans have taken, and I said, Muslims, come with us, vote with us. Particularly in 2022, come right alongside with us. But they've said at the same time, come into this tent. We're not going to have Sharia law. We're not going to have, but we are going to stand with you when it comes to moral issues and things like that. But at the same time, it's a big tent on the side of the Republicans. On the side of the Democrats, and you look over to the left, it's a circus tent.
Who's running for the Senate, and he'll be a great senator, and he's going to be a great senator. He was a great congressman, and then he left. He went on to very big things. He did well, no matter where he was, and I think they took that away from you last time. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I really do. Don't like to get things going. I don't like to be controversial at all.
Sure you don't.
But they rigged the election on you. Mine was too big to rig. You won. I'm telling you, you won. But you're going to do great this time. He's a great guy, actually. He's going to be an amazing senator. Thank you. Thank you for being here, too, Mike. Who's running for the Senate.
So I'm talking a little bit about that and a little bit about that race when he was in town. Just what is it, a week ago? It was like a week ago yesterday. Oh, this is great. This is great. On Abdel Al-Sayed's Fighting the Oligarchy tour, this is Patriot Post girl Heather Dow over on X. On Abdul El-Sayed's Fighting Oligarchy tour, he called Trump's tax cuts deplorable and disgusting for helping people who don't really need more money. Meanwhile, Abdul claimed a QBI deduction, one of those deductions from the Trump tax cuts, and saved himself $6,000. Heather says he really should stop denouncing his family's discount. Yeah, that's a good point. Another great meme and post pointing that out from Patriot Post girl Heather Dow there over on X. Follow her. She's always great and always solid for fun there. All right, what else from him? Do I have anything else I gotta mention from him? I'm just trying to make sure that I've got it all worked out here. Oh, last thing. I knew there was something else. This isn't normal, by the way. The Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news, has broken this story. After being criticized by a Haley Stevens supporter for supporting Arabic, a video obtained by the Midwesterner shows, speaking Arabic, by the way, for I think one of his campaign members or somebody, maybe he did too, shows Abdul Al-Sayed's staff and supporters saying inshallah to each other on the campaign call, which is, I don't know if you understand the significance.
Inshallah, y'all. We got to get
Inshallah,
this.
inshallah, we come back for 12 more of these. Inshallah, this is just
We're
a
feeling-
break. Yeah.
Mark, we're feeling
Yep.
good.
We're kicking ass.
We are.
We are. No, that's real. We are. Say it. Believe it.
These are the socialist Democrats behind the scenes that are Useful idiots in the campaign. Maybe they know, maybe some of them know. I don't know. But inshallah means God willing in Arabic. And which God do you think they mean? Willing. Which God's will do you think they want to prevail? It's interesting. Yeah, just another piece of the puzzle.
Michigan citizens today, 60% of us say that Michigan's going the wrong direction. Think of that. And I say, why? Why does this happen? For the last quarter century, we've had two Democrats speaking the same way, talking the same way, and voting the same way in Michigan. And what was the result in that quarter century of total Democrat monopoly in the United States Senate for Michigan? We've lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. We have the highest utility rates. Yeah, you bet, you can boo that. We have the highest utility rates in the Midwest, about 17% higher than the national average. We have the highest auto insurance rates in the country. The average homeowner now in Michigan for the first time is 40 years old. And here's the worst of all of them. We went from top tier in education to 45th. Oh, yeah. Over half of our fourth graders can't read in the fourth grade. If you can't read in the fourth grade by the fourth grade, think of this, you have a 70% chance of going to prison or being on welfare. Over half of our fourth graders can't read in the fourth grade. Man, do we need a change in Michigan.
Yeah, it's massive. So not only are we dealing with this primary, and obviously we've got a gubernatorial race that's heating up too. One thing I'll say, because I don't endorse, haven't endorsed, give everybody a chance to come on and get into it. But one thing I will say is this: no matter who is on that ticket coming up in November, we got to get behind them, because the opposite, the folks on the other side of things, the Democrats, are dangerous. They're going to be dangerous. I can tell you that much right now. And unthinkable. Same with Mike Rogers. I've seen a lot of people say, Mike Rogers this, Mike Rogers that, and I understand criticism. That's fine. I'm not going to agree with everybody on everything. I'll take issue with them, but you cannot say, and I've seen it even from people I know and like, say that that voting for Mike Rogers would be the same as voting for the Democrat. That's not what we're talking about here. We're literally talking about voting for Mike Rogers or a communist. Voting for Mike Rogers or an Islamic extremist, someone who, has issues with 9/11, someone who's, said don't celebrate the death of the Ayatollah Khomeini. We're not going to put a statement out because we don't want to upset people in Dearborn. That's who we're talking about. If you can't see this, you've got to come outside of yourself. You've got to walk outside of it. I understand you may not be happy with a candidate. I understand that there may be issues for some folks. This is life or death. That same thing, like it elected Alyssa Slotkin, that same mentality will elect a communist, Muslim extremist. This is a fact. This is a fact. So I just want people to understand this. It has never been more important. And this election determines where we go, not only to hold the Senate, right, obviously, with this race, but where we're heading in Michigan, massive. All right, I've got more to cover. I got massive stories that I haven't had a chance barely to even scratch the surface on yet, folks. We'll get into that. Quick break from the Midwesterner around the state and beyond. We'll check out the headlines now, themidwesterner.news.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, July 31st. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. As we gear up for the primary here in Michigan, progressive candidate Abdul El-Sayed has endorsements now from AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Ro Khanna. He's running against Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who's endorsed by Governor Whitmer, plus the senator that she's running to replace, Gary Peters. The primary is coming up Tuesday, August 4th. Michigan Congressman Republican John James and Doug Lloyd promising to protect the Line 5 pipeline. from Democrat anti-energy policies. Both men telling the Midwesterner in separate emails that they support pipeline owner Enbridge's plans to remove the pipes to a 20-foot diameter tunnel that would be built more than 100 feet beneath the bedrock of the Straits. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
All right, folks, click share. Sharing is caring. Going to get something cool inside the store. JustinBarkley.com/store. Give you a chance to win something cool. We got tees, we got hoodies, we got mugs, we got all kinds of good things. Tumblers and stuff and such inside the store. JustinBarkley.com/store. And I want to give something to you. Somebody that is listening and sharing the program today at the end of the show, we'll make sure that you win something cool. All right. Before that, I got good news. We haven't begun to scratch the surface on the RFK Jr. Dana Bash CNN moment that took place over the week. This may go down as the greatest moment in television history. I know it's being a little hyperbolic, but at the same time, if you really take into consideration what actually took place, holy smokes, it may be the greatest moment. It's really that good. It's incredible. It doesn't get any better than this. For the I told you so crowd, and you and I know, right? I think we know. We're on the same page about this stuff. I want to get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, this is show you why this race is so important. Why James Dixon has said this in the midterm. This is the final exam here in Michigan, but it goes beyond here nationally as well. Trump may only have 3 months left. Dave Rubin, podcaster, is now taking the month of August off. I'm actually kind of jealous about it. I love this idea. He takes a whole month off. He disconnects from the internet, and he sort of just like goes off the grid. I'm not going to look at anything. I love that. Dave Rubin told Sean Hannity before he went on his little hiatus that if Republicans lose the House and lose the Senate, first, if they lose the House, he's going to get hung up in impeachment. He will likely not be impeached, meaning he will be impeached, but he won't be removed from office. But he said this could be, a lot of people say he's only got a couple of years. No. He's only got 3 months left, Dave Rubin says. What he believes coming in just the next several months.
Really better understand that it's not that Trump has 2.5 years left. He may only have 3 months left. That, in essence, is where we could be.
Good point.
If the Republicans lose the House and lose the Senate, well, first of all, if they lose the House, he's going to get hung up in impeachment. He will likely not be impeached, but meaning we will end up with
he'll be impeached.
Well, he'll be impeached.
The House.
Right, no, he'll be impeached, but he probably won't be removed from office. They're not going to get enough votes in the Senate one way or another or something.
Yeah.
But the point is that the process to end these last 10 years of MAGA and everything that has happened since 2015 will begin. And then it's not just that they will be emboldened. The crazies on the left will be.
They're going to unravel. They want to unravel everything Trump has done. They want to unravel everything he stood for. And more than anything else, they really want to demoralize you. They want you, the good, average, everyday working folks who love this country, who said enough is enough. They want you to think, well, there's nothing you can do anymore, so just disengage. Just disengage. That's where they want this to go.
And then the fighting on the right, to whatever extent we've already talked about it, that's going to go completely bananas because it's going to be like rats jumping from a ship, and then you're going to have all these people leaving Trump and trying to pick up the pieces. It's going to be complete chaos. So people really better understand that. It's not just that at this midterm, which everyone always says is the most important election of all time, like I don't see how it could possibly be more important than it is right now. We are on the edge of handing the keys to the castle to people who are telling us they want to burn the castle down, and we're about to hand them the keys to do it.
He's absolutely right. This is why I make the point of how important this stuff is. Now, I want to also, as I'm doing this, I want to share some good news. It's important to be clear about where we are and where we're going. There's so much on the line. And I know I mentioned Trump calling out the Iran strike, and there may be a deal on the way. The market's up, I think, 700 points today. Oil prices are sliding. In fact, we'll show you a little bit of that real quick here. Oil prices are sliding. There is some good news, but again, we've seen this before. this is the up and down of all of this, and it's just the talk. We'll see how things play out, but this is just this is today. This is the snapshot today. I do want to give you some hope. I do want to give you some encouragement. On C-SPAN over the weekend, a lifelong Democrat, in fact, there's several of these calls, but a lifelong Democrat called in and explained why. I've seen several of these lately, and they're completely generic. They're completely authentic. They're on different platforms and from different kinds of people that I think are seeing some of the extreme, the Abdul Sayeds, the Mamdanis, the rest of that, the Kami Mamdani, all of that stuff, and they're singing. They go, this is not the Democrat, but it's not my grandfather's Democrat. Certainly, we've been past that for years now. But they're off the rest. I'm not doing this anymore. Listen to the caller.
Good, but I'm going to be voting for you today. I've been a lifelong Democrat, and I'm 72 years old, 72-year-old white male. And I've been a Democrat my whole life. This past primary in Ohio, I went and asked for the Republican ballot, which makes me a Republican now. There's many reasons for that. But if I could just be philosophical for just a minute, and thank you again for taking my call. This chicken, this Democratic Socialist movement, this chicken has been coming home to roost for a long, long time. And you have to go back to the source of what's going on. 35 or 40 years ago, the Democrats and Republicans together decided that they were going to shovel every job that they could shovel offshore that they did. And the ones that weren't bolted down, they shipped first, and then they've unbolted the rest of them and shipped the rest of them. So if you're a young person in this country, we don't make any textiles. We don't make any electronics. We don't make hardly any cars. We don't make hardly any pharmaceuticals. And so you've got a lot of young people who are seeing this wage gap. And by the way, I'm a Republican, and you're seeing this income gap. And so essentially they're fair game for this movement. They see this movement as an opportunity, if not to gain back some credibility or some life, a better life. They look at it as a way to burn the system down.
Okay.
And here,
Jeffrey there in Kent, Ohio, Republican.
They cut him off. No, ma'am. Former Democrat, lifelong Democrat, who became a Republican. They don't want you to hear this either. C-SPAN especially. They don't want you to hear this. But that's not the only one. You got that guy in Ohio. And this guy's from Georgia, I believe. I think this is a different call. C-SPAN got the earful.
Him in Georgia. Which party do you plan to vote for in November?
I'm a little bit confused on that right now because the Democrats have lost their mind. This is insanity what is going on. You're sitting here and telling me that the United States of America is going to have a socialist party that is going to be running the country? What military? I did 11 years, and as a disabled veteran, I would never join the military and fight for a socialist republic. This is insanity. So now I'm thinking I have to vote Republican to stop this from going on, but then I look at them, and I'm like, they don't have the guts to stand up to nothing that Trump puts in front of them except McCloskey. She's the only one that seems to be able to do that, and she's leaving. So now, in order to stop this insanity from the Democratic Party, I'm going to have to hold my nose and vote Republican, because I would rather vote Republican and have this country stay the United States of America, the Democratic Party, the Democratic country we are, than to turn it over to a bunch of lunatic socialists. That's what they are. And you name me one socialist country that is not on their hands and knees right now struggling. And that's where we'll be if we continue down this road.
And Tim, do you support the president's actions?
Isn't that something? Now she's going to try and pull him off of this idea of, Democrats are going nuts. She wants him talking about Trump. He probably won't. I haven't watched this far into it. He probably won't support some of this, but that's okay, because the main part is the main part here.
In Iran, the war there.
I supported it, but like I said, I'm a disabled veteran. I was there when the embassy and the Marine barracks got bombed in Lebanon, and we all knew that Hamas was the one behind it. But the government didn't do anything behind it. The problem I got with Trump is he doesn't have an end game. He doesn't have no way out. He had no way to come in and actually secure it. It's like he's sitting here playing with them, in my opinion, and it's strictly my opinion, to keep the oil prices up so the oil companies could come in and profit off of it, just like he went into Venezuela. That was an illegal action. You can't go into a country and kidnap the president, put some fake charges on him, and take over his whole oil field and his
But he did.
whole whatever and give it to the oil companies to run. Now he's out of control. I supported him when his first term, but this second term, he's turned into a madman with this war. So
Remember, Democrat in Georgia.
stuck. But I'm not. I would rather ride with Trump than give this country to a bunch of lunatic socialists who want to get rid of the military, get rid of ICE, get rid of the cops. They just want to turn this place into a madhouse.
Okay.
And if we
Tim in Georgia.
I got to cut you off. You're making too much sense now. So he doesn't like Trump, but he can't even stand to think about the insanity of the Democrats. Now, communists, progressive, socialists, whatever you want to call it, however you want to stack that. He can't even fathom going along with that. Bridge too far. So I think that's the upper end though. That's going to be, I'm saying 45 and older probably. That still understand communism. That whole thing still has like a negative connotation to it. So anyway, I wanted to show you that because that's some grand revelation. Some grand revelation on television and C-SPAN. So not, two people saw it. More people are probably watching it right now than actually watched it live. More people are watching it right now in this live stream than actually watched it on C-SPAN in the first place. All right, more good news. Let me do this, and then I actually some fantastic news that we want to probably go through as well. Let's do Dana Bash, CNN, RFK Jr. over the weekend. I think maybe the most historic moment on television, one of the most revealing moments on television took place. The masks are coming off. For some of you folks that want to see certain things happen, this is the kind of thing that has to take place first. Viewers on CNN have to be confronted with reality. And some of this took place over the weekend. Watch this clip.
You are the HHS secretary, and you are talking about things that lead to vaccine hesitancy in this country. And it is something that causes problems for people when there is not anything.
Let me ask you something. Do you see your job as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things.
Don't lose the fact that RFK Jr. is vaccine edge. He sits there in front of her with the voice the way it is because of an injury. So the guy is going to be a little more up to speed on some of this than she is anyway, because he has a personal encounter with the whole thing. But not only that, he is the HHS secretary. And you're going to see her come unhinged and off the rails real quick.
Out there in science.
You're repeating
and it is
like a parrot. You're repeating
so are
it
you.
like a parrot.
So
I've
are you.
actually read the science. Let's come back here and debate the science.
I'm not debating this with you.
Of course you won't.
No, because I'm not
all
debating.
All you know how to do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts. That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine, about the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling out the experts again to talk about something that you have no personal knowledge of.
Okay, well, guess what? That is my job, to talk to people.
Your job is to
Am I
tell the
allowed
truth
to talk?
to the American
Yes,
public.
yes. And my job
And
is
to
to
be-
get as
and
much
to-
information as I
and to
can. And
maintain
what we were
a
doing,
posture
what we were
The difference is she puts her thumb on the scale. So RFK Jr. is an expert, but his testimony, what he has to say, doesn't matter as much as the experts she agrees with. That's how all this plays out.
doing
skepticism.
what we
toward
were
government
doing
authority.
in COVID and still with regard to these vaccines is getting the best information, the best science that we can, and putting it out there. And sir, what you are doing.
Sponsored by, brought to you by Pfizer. Pfizer. Do you remember all of those? That was one of the greatest eye-opening moments of I think of all whoever made that clip. You weren't telling us the truth. You were giving us sponsored infotainment.
Is causing information
science
to be
from
out there that is
lying to
not
you.
accurate.
She said he's causing information to be out there that's not accurate. Okay, Dana. Oh, do you remember when y'all told us that, this is 100% effective, and if we got the jab, we wouldn't get it, we wouldn't give it to anybody else, and all of this other stuff, all the lies that we were told. By the way, I don't know who did this. This is hilarious. The internet wins again.
You see your job
Somebody put a parrot head on top of her.
as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things out there in science, and it is
like a parrot. You see your job.
I don't know who did that, but that is fantastic. Boy, that is hilarious. That is fantastic. What somebody tell me what happened to the, Pfizer, brought to you by Pfizer. You remember that? Brought to you by, remember that they had that super click that they did, paid for by Pfizer. This is brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer. You remember that super clip they did? And then they had people. Remember the people? And this is a great question because I don't really know the answer to that. What about all of the we had news people like crashing out on television, passing out. Remember that?
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
Oh.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer. Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
I honestly, I have a hard time. I don't want to laugh at this because I don't know what's happened to these people, and it's this very serious thing. But the worst part of it all has to be the fact that, again, it's obvious they were doing this the whole time. She's now supposed to be, again, we're supposed to listen and pay attention to her. The same one, by the way, she's beyond reproach. This Dana Bash, the same one caught giving hand signals to Joe Biden in that debate that he handily lost.
Immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern. Immigration and border security.
Here comes.
President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed.
She's an intelligence tool. She's an asset. That's who this is, by the way, if you want to know. I mean, she's part of the Mockingbird media. She could be a parrot. She could be a mockingbird. Either one. What's the story? What's the story about her husband? Didn't he work for the CIA or something like that? Wasn't there? I think I remember hearing that the story about Dana Bash and her husband, and he was a part of some of the crazy things that were. I try to remember. I'll maybe I'll look it up and see if I can share with you. But it to me, it's. again, look, this is why they censored us all during that era. They can't handle the truth. They never wanted you to hear it, and it was apparent at the time. And I'll say it's even more. It's even more so now when you look at what we've gone through. Okay, Svetlana Lakova says Dana Bash's former husband, Jeremy Bash, Obama's CIA chief of staff. Dana Bash kept her husband's last name. Jeremy Bash was one of the signatories of the Biden laptop letter used by the CIA to interfere in the 2020 election. Dana Bash, deep state operative. So there you have it. But again, just part of the. It is hard to watch. It is hard to watch because I don't know anything about these. Where are these people now? Are they okay? What happened to them? These poor folks. Who knows? And it just sort of disappeared off the radar. Even though now we know. Now we know. Now we have the truth. Now we found out what's going on. Now we got the Fauci files, his diary, and everything else. Now we know. And boy, oh boy, is that something. It is incredible. Story after story, massive, and just really, really great news in some ways. We saw the hero stand in. I showed you top of the show, the good guy with the gun, standing up at the In-N-Out. How about this? A 16-year-old lifeguard, Ryder Williams, recounts his heroic rescue in Santa Cruz, California. This happened last week. Praising his fellow lifeguards for helping with the rescue. I wish more people knew about ocean conditions, he says, and rip currents. He talks about it. But he was caught, another one, on camera, doing something absolutely fantastic, saving the life of this child there in California.
In my safety contact, I always scan the water to see if there's anyone in need of help. I look up and I see a young boy get swept off his feet on a low point on the beach. I start running up the beach as you get pulled out. The challenges for this rescue was that it was so close in, fins were ineffective. I'm seeing waves on the outside. As I grab the child, he goes limp, so I'm thinking about if he's unconscious or not, and that I really need to get in. The whole time I was thinking I just need to hold my position until my partner can get here because I'm not going to be able to get him out on my own. Doing the best I can to get a good grip on the child and not get sucked out any further. My partner mostly takes over holding the child because at this point my arms were very exhausted from holding on. I still support him as much as I can as we drag him out of the water. That is just a part of our daily task to do to keep the public safe. That's the reason we are on the beach. I returned to my tower after the rescue and continued to make safety contacts and ended up making more rescues later that day. Together that day, we had many units on and all the tower staff. All the towers are making constant safety contacts with the units driving through to support us. Without working together, we would not be able to make many of the rescues we do.
It's another hero, just another one. That's America, man. You got all these fantastic stories, one after the other of just, and it's not just good news. It's fantastic news. It is. You need to see it. You need to hear it. You need to understand, even when we have some of the darkest moments, some of the crazier times that we've been certainly been through. It is important to see stories like that. How about this? A little girl in Kentucky given 3 days to live. Her mom told to call a funeral home and start making arrangements. Then one tragedy led to triumph when a 10-year-old boy in Ohio was hit by a car, and his liver saved her life. Now, 20 years later, she's doing something even more miraculous. It's incredible. This story, she is marrying that little boy's brother.
The year that my liver started failing again, Noah drove all the way to Cincinnati Children's to see me, and he sat with me for a couple hours.
Brooklyn Dotson and Noah Waters say their love story is decades in the making.
Ready for the commitment.
He'd do anything for anyone, and he's a strong, hardworking man.
What started as childhood friendship eventually became something more.
And it got to the point that we were FaceTiming each other 8 hours a day.
Brooklyn is from Kentucky, Noah from Ohio.
I realized that I kind of had feelings, and it was after my birthday. My mom had contacted him and was like, I think Brooke likes you. And that same weekend, he came to see me.
Oh, I got her. I'm hooked, line, and sinker. I'm going to go do my best, Here's my shot.
They eventually got engaged and set a date for September in Monticello. For Brooklyn, planning a wedding is even more special because growing up was not guaranteed.
I was just a little baby, and at the time before my transplant, the doctors only gave me 3 days to live, and they told my mom to go ahead and call the funeral home and make my arrangements, and she didn't give up on me.
She's able to walk down the aisle at 24 years old because of a liver transplant she received as a toddler. Born in Letcher County, she was diagnosed with a rare liver condition at just a few months old. She underwent the life-saving procedure at Cincinnati Children's Hospital in 2003.
Do you believe that this was divine intervention 20 years ago?
Yes.
I mean, how else do you explain it?
Noah is also passionate about organ donation.
What a story. What an incredible moment. Like I said, there's always good news out there, folks. You got to be looking for it and find it. You seek and you will find. We'll continue to bring it to you. Good news, the stories you won't hear anywhere else. And of course, thanks for the folks. By the way, I got some answers for some folks that have questions. VIPs. Hang on to the Freedom Fam over on Locals. I'll try and get to those. Some things that have come out of the Newsmax hit today, kind of unexpected, but we'll get into that coming up. JustinBarclay.com/locals if you want to join us there. Join the Freedom Fam VIP. It's only $9 a month. When you join for the whole year, you sign up, you get a month free and a copy of my book, Good News book. There it is. Boom. Right up there. Good news, hope, and encouragement for trying times. I'll sign it and send it to you. Get on your way. Speaking of on our way, congratulations to Linda McPherson today. You're our winner, Linda. Congratulations. You grabbed something from inside the Justin store, justinbarclay.com/store. God bless, folks. See you back here tomorrow. Make it a great one.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Let's say China. 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 China.